Hello all. So this is the last videos, Matthew chapter 7. We were going over Matthew chapter 5, 6, and 7, which is known as the Sermon on the Mount. So I'm just going to read and hopefully I'll be able to say something. Matthew chapter 7. Judge not, that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye mete, it shall be measured to you again. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but perceives not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. I've gotten to where I've been a Christian since I was 23, with the exception of my fall, which was 13 years after. So it was about a 9-month to a year period. But other than that year, I've been a Christian since I was 23, barely turned 23. And I'm 50 now. One of the things that my fall really taught me was to shut my mouth. Looking back, it's one of the greatest things that ever happened to me, because I was very, as a new Christian, judgmental, condemning everybody else to hell. Really mouthy. I see a lot of that in other Christians, especially those that are new to the faith. They just become a Christian, they get real excited. But God has really dealt with me on that. And so even people that it really doesn't matter who it is. It is not for me to say you're going to hell. You know, I don't have any. I'm not God. I'm not their judge. We're all going to be judged when Christ comes. So I don't judge people one way or the other. I don't say they're good, and I don't say they're bad, because I really don't know. You know, there's some really bad people that can appear very good, and there's some so it's not for me to say. And you know what, it really doesn't matter, you know, to me. I strongly suspect some fake Christians, you know, but I don't really, to put it in a very understandable way, I don't care. You know, it just doesn't, I don't care pretty much about anything. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care what people say about me. I don't care if they judge me. It's no skin off my back at all. You know, really, I really don't care. I didn't care what people thought when my video camera just took a picture of me. It caught me smiling. But anyway, I didn't care what people thought whenever I was radical in the other way. You know, I would wear some pretty offensive clothes and listen to some offensive material, and just would flat out offend a person right in their face and tell them what I thought. And if they raised their voice, I would pop them in the mouth. I was known for that when I was young, especially. But it's just that I don't care in a different way now, you know? And so, fortunately, being the way that I was, it keeps me from being so judgmental toward others that are not Christian, you know? Because coming from the same place, you're just a little more understanding there. Anyway, so although other parts of the scriptures, you know, it says judge righteous judgment, not according to appearance. That's what Christ said. Don't judge according to appearance, but judge righteous judgment. I just got to where I don't judge one way or the other, period. You know? So I don't really have the right to, because I have turned from God about 13 years after I became a Christian. I turned from God, and so I really don't have grounds to be so judgmental, even toward what seems to be obviously false prophets and false teachers. You know? I'm quiet about it. God shut my mouth about all that. And that's very healthy for a person, because, as he says, with the same judgment that you judge, you will be judged. And I think that's a big reason why I fell away and why I got into so much trouble. My story is found on DarylGilbertMinistry.com, and it's very entertaining and it's very extreme. You go down about 13 pages after you click on the picture of the cross, and it says part 2, real big letters. That's where in my life history and how I became a Christian, that's my testimony there, if you're interested. Anyway, so it says in verse 8, give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you. Yeah, it's like, I used to do, I did that, you know. It's like I would go to a group of people, and I would kind of preach, you know, hey, you need to stop lying, or you need to stop doing this or stop doing that, you know, or you're going to go to hell, you know, that sinner. And so the thing about it is trying to tell somebody whether they're doing right or wrong is really not the point. It's sharing about, you know, Christ dying and being raised from the dead again. You know, once people believe that, then they get into the right and wrongs. But so people are only going to rebel when somebody comes at them in a judgmental way, and giving that which is holy to them, you know, which is like Christ's commandments, you know, and being judgmental and you know, putting people's sins in their faces. It's just all it's gonna do is just bring, they're gonna turn again and rend you. So Matthew chapter 7 verse 7, ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. For everyone that asks receives, and he that seeks finds, and to him that knocks it shall be opened. Or what man is there of you whom, if his son asks bread, will he give him a stone? Or if he asks a fish, will he give him a serpent? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? I'm one of these people that look at the scriptures as there's a time. There's a time, like in the book of Corinthians, it says, Paul quotes the Old Testament and says, I have heard thee in the acceptable time, and in the day of salvation I have comforted thee. I think there's periods of times when God works, and then there's periods of times when he is not very responsive, you know. But to his people, when they seek after him in doing these things with all their heart, his sons, then when they ask, they will receive anything that they ask for in faith, in the acceptable time. It's not always the scriptures. Whenever the scriptures speak of things, are not always the case, but they are still true. There's also other scriptures that expound on scriptures like this, that would kind of explain it said in James chapter 1, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, that gives to all generously, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavers is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So if you're unstable in all his ways, or you're not walking in faith, let not that man think that he will receive anything of the Lord. So he might still give it to you. Who knows? So he sums up the whole Sermon on the Mount in chapter 7, verse 13. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and narrow is the way that leads to destruction, and many there be that go in thereat. But because strait is the gate, which means restricted, strict. Because strait is the gate and narrow is the way which leads into life, and few there be that find it. Therefore all things whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do ye even so to them. For this is the law and the prophets. The fulfillment of the law and the prophets is to do unto others as you would want to be treated yourself. So, beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. You shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so every good tree brings forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree brings forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that brings not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. Not every one that says unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that does the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, in the day of judgment, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name have cast out devils? And in thy name have done wonderful works? The wonderful works he's talking about here is like healing and doing miracles. And as he says before, they have the gift and the ability to prophesy and to cast out devils and to do miracles. And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So he's talking about false prophets here. Beware of false prophets that come to you in sheep's clothing. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Well, he says here that false prophets, they had abilities to heal and to do miracles and to prophesy. And then he'll profess unto them, I never knew you. And the reason why is they did evil. So he says a good tree, which is the person, cannot bring forth evil fruit because they believe in Christ and they walk in his ways. And an evil tree, an evil person, cannot bring forth good fruit, not before God. And so all of their works that they do, even if they have these special abilities, before God they do no good. And on the contrary, a person that walks righteously and that does unto others as he would want to be done, and that does all of these things, even though they fail at times, before God, they do no evil because they believe in Christ. They try with all their heart and with all their mind to try to do these things. And so they bring forth no wicked fruit. So he says in verse 24, therefore whosoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And every one that hears these sayings of mine and does them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. It's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really have that much more to say. I guess that's probably going to be the last video that I put out for a while. Thanks for listening.